Taiwan's Deputy Foreign Minister, Francois Wu, is in Berlin. We're joining him here at Taiwan's representative office in the center of the city. So, Minister Wu, your visit here to Berlin is part of this kind of blitz of diplomacy by the Taiwanese into Europe right now.
Yeah.
What's this all about? What's the strategy?
It's because we all know now in the Indo-Pacific region, we have a problem with China, not only Taiwan, but a lot of countries, including, for example, Japan. China have a very strong ambition to try to dominate the Indo-Pacific region. And I'm here in Europe because, of course, for Taiwan, our most important partner remain the United States of America, Japan, but we feel also more and more common interests that we share with European countries. We invest also more in Europe. So my coming in Europe, not only in Germany, but also in Belgium, in France, is aim to have a more dialogue or more exchange with like-minded country to try to tell you that you also have a very important interest in the region. And I'm here trying to find the way how we can work together to safeguard democracy, liberty, also to find a better future for the free world, for the democratic world, even for the whole humanity.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about what you would like to get from the Europeans at some point. But first of all, let's just talk about the nature of the threat that you're talking about. You say that China wants to dominate East Asia, the Indo-Pacific region. I mean, just recently, there was a military parade in China that took place.
3rd September.
Which was marking the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, but also was this huge parade of military gear.
Yeah.
What ran through your mind when you saw that?
First, for us, the image, we saw the President of China, Xi Jinping, we saw Putin, we saw Kim Jong-un from North Korea, we saw Iran. For us, Taiwan as a free world, as a democracy, we don't feel comfortable with this kind of image. Especially China have more and more ambition trying to conquer Taiwan, to take control of our semiconductor industry. So this very, that shocked us, this kind of military parade is making, of course, Taiwan more and more worried about the intention of China, especially of Xi Jinping.
So you're looking at those weapons parading through Beijing and thinking some of these are all about trying to attack Taiwan?
Certainly, because now the threat of Taiwan is not only have been shown in this major parade, but every day we have the incursion making by a Chinese fighter. So, for example, last year we have the visit of nearly 4,000 Chinese air fighter to make an incursion in our ADIS, the air defense identification zone. So it's not only in the military parade that we have this threat, but it is now a daily operation, a daily feeling. And another thing, that we are not the only country that suffer this kind of incursion from China. For example, Japan, the same thing, they suffer a lot. China is doing this kind of incursion toward, in the Japanese, Senkaku Island, but in the Chinese way, 钓鱼台. So it is something that really the world need to pay more attention.
And part of China's military buildup, which goes in many realms, I mean, the Navy is now the largest in the world, but another part that is causing increasing disquiet is nuclear weapons. So China has gone from having roughly 200 warheads to roughly 600 now. At that parade, for the first time, it showed off the full triad, which it had never done before, of air-launched, land-launched, and sea-launched missiles. What do you think about that?
Okay, for us, that worry Taiwan the most is not the nuclear weapon, because first, we don't have a nuclear weapon in Taiwan, but that worry Taiwan very strongly is the very big marine fleet that China established. Now China have more than 400 battleships. It's much bigger than the battleship owned by the U.S., which has 300. So they have 100 more. I used to be ambassador of Taiwan in France. In France, they talk that every 5 years, China build more battleship than the whole French Navy. So we do see this kind of ambition. Another thing is that, of course, with this China also just put in service their third aircraft carrier. It is also there's something worry Taiwan, because now meaning that the invasion from China, or not necessarily from the continent, they can send their aircraft carrier to the east side of Taiwan and making an attack toward Taiwan. So making, of course, for example, South Korea very worried about this situation. So recently they just get the green light from the U.S. And South Korea possible maybe in the future will have his own nuclear submarine. And this initiative, this declaration also making Japan very worried. Japan also said since now every country in the region have a nuclear power nuclear submarine, for example, AUKUS also in Australia. So Japan also can consider it's a possibility in the future. The defense budget of GDP, the defense budget of Japan will maybe also reach 2% in the future. We need to know that just several years ago, they are still talking about 1%. Now it's 2%. And Japan also decided to make a reform for their auto defense force to become a real army. So we see all this kind of military development in the region and making this region now an area that I believe that European countries need to pay more attention.
And I just want to return to the nuclear weapons, because many experts say that, well, nuclear weapons are relevant for every country in Asia, because part of the motivation behind this expansion that China has been doing is about deterring the United States from intervening if there is an attack on Taiwan. Is that a danger you do see?
I don't think, again, that China will use a nuclear weapon to try to stop the American policy in the region, because China also have this kind of official declaration. China will not be the first country to use a nuclear weapon. And to preserve the status quo, to defend the status quo, to defend the democracy and liberty in the region, I don't think USA need to use a nuclear weapon. So it's not an issue, I think, now in Asia-Pacific region. But of course, China want to demonstrate that China have an equal status comparing to US. So they are investing more to their nuclear capacity. It's a fact. But I think it's much more trying to tell to the world now China is the rising power, and I think maybe especially they have this intention to replace the leadership of the US in the world before 2049. It is the 100th anniversary of the creation of the People's Republic of China.
So you've described the security environment in East Asia and the fact that many countries are increasing defense spending. Taiwan is doing the same. It's under a huge pressure from the United States as well to do that, just like the United States is pressuring other friends and allies. Tell us about your plans to do that. President Lai has said his target is 5% of GDP in a few years' time.
Before 2030.
How do you intend to achieve that? Because you don't have a majority in Parliament. How do you get that through Parliament?
I think to increase our defense budget is in some way, we do have the majority among the opinion of the population. I would not say it is a consensus, because consensus meaning that it's a high majority. But I believe we do have this majority. The example is that the new chairwoman of the principal opposition party, the KMT, before she got elected as a chairperson, as the leadership of a KMT, she said that she opposed the increasement of our defense budget. But later we make a poll, and then even among the participants of the KMT, 60% of the participants support to increase our defense budget. This year, at the beginning of the year, normally we plan to spend, I think, 20 billion US dollar for our defense budget. It was blocked by the opposition. But later, because of a very important recall movement initiated by the citizens, it's a very unique way that the Taiwanese democracy function. And later, it forced, I think, the opposition to agree this amount of a military defense budget. And next year, I think we will continue to increase to reach 30 billion US dollar. I believe in some ways the democracy of Taiwan functions also by how the population, the citizens support this policy. So I think we will continue to fight, and since now the aggressivity from China is so clear, so visible, I think Taiwanese people will support this policy to increase our defense budget.
But isn't the bottom line that given the situation in Parliament where you do have a quite adamant opposition, that 5% target it feels a bit like a promise that President Lai cannot absolutely guarantee that he can keep?
Let's first reach the 3.3% budget that we'll try to achieve next year. I think if we can reach the 3.3%, 3% of GDP of defense budget, next we will use all our capability to try to reach 5%.
And how do you intend to persuade opposition lawmakers of that 3.3 for next year? What's your core argument?
I think to persuade the opposition, of course, because I'm the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, I know that the persuade opposition is really not easy inside the Parliament. But again, we, in terms of defense capability, is something that in Taiwan, my feeling that we have the most support from the population. Again, since we are a democracy, the opposition also need to make some policy that supported by the citizen in Taiwan. They need to win election again and again. So if this policy obtain general support from the population, I don't believe that the opposition will be able to oppose this increasement of our defense budget.
Let's just zoom back out to the region again. The new Prime Minister of Japan, Prime Minister Takaichi. We've obviously been talking about Japan already, but there's a pretty deep diplomatic crisis that is now unfolded between Japan and China over Prime Minister Takaichi's recent comments vis-a-vis Taiwan. She's getting blowback within Japan from some quarters saying that this was being provocative towards China. What's the Taiwanese view on that? Are you grateful to the Prime Minister of Japan for making that statement? And do you think this blowback is worth it?
I think what the new Prime Minister of Japan declared to answer a question raised by an MP is just to describe the situation correctly. If you look at the geopolitical ambition of China, now Taiwan is the first target. China want to conquer Taiwan and then to have ambition in the Pacific Ocean. If China conquer Taiwan, the next one we believe will be Japan, with in Japanese the Senkaku Island and in Chinese the Diaoyutai. Madam Premier of Japan just say if Taiwan, the security of Taiwan is compromised, then it means that it will threaten also the security of Japan. And I think after this declaration, I think she obtained even more support from the Japanese population. So I just can say from the like-minded countryside, and also I forget to say that she also get the support from the American ambassador in Tokyo. So you can see this kind of common status or common situation among Japan, US, and Taiwan. And these three countries, of course, compose a very strong alliance in the region to try to stop the geopolitical ambition of China. So I think for us now, it is the declaration of Madame la Prime Minister is just something that corresponds to the national interest that we share, that Taiwan share with Japan and the US. And for me, it's just a better situation that we are now comparing to the past.
And so let's bring it back to Germany, where you are here now trying to pull Germany and other European countries closer into this kind of group of countries that are very supportive of Taiwan. What is it you would like Germany to do?
I think, again, I repeatedly saying that China do have a geopolitical ambition, and is increasing her military capability. That I think that for us that we believe that it's not necessary, because no country in the region want to threat China. We just want to cooperate with China. But we do have this kind of very intense geopolitical conflict. So for us, status quo is the most important thing. The freedom, the democracy of Taiwan also is very important. We hope that Taiwan can continue to contribute with a positive way to the international community. So for me, we still have a lot of possibility to manage the conflict, the situation with a diplomatic way, and to not to let the war occur. If war occur, if China use a military way to conquer Taiwan, for me, everyone is nobody, no one, no part will be the winner. So I hope that Germany can understand the situation now, working in a diplomatic way to try to defend your interests in the region. I think everybody in Germany know that we are invested in Dresden for our semiconductor industry. Taiwan produces, in general, 60 to 70% of the semiconductor of the world. For the most sophisticated, is 95%. Linking to AI is 100%. So Taiwan want to continue to contribute even in this term that we need every day in our daily life. Our mobile phone need the chips made in Taiwan. Our car needs a chip made in Taiwan, and even for our health, the medical equipment that we have now all need the chips made in Taiwan. So we cannot allow a war happen in the region. It's the national interest of Germany. It's the national interest of Taiwan. It just happened that we do share this interest together. So my coming here again is to persuade more friends from Germany to work with Taiwan, to work with Japan, to prevent the war occur in the region, and hoping that Germany can raise your voice more in the direction that we need the status quo. Germany will defend also the status quo of the region. When I'm saying defend, it's not necessarily using military way, but in raising your voice in an international situation, in some kind of international conference, for example, the G7 will be very, very important to work with Taiwan, to work with Japan, to work with Philippines, to maintain the status quo and defend the democracy, the freedom of navigation, for example, in the region.
And just a final question on that, because the German foreign minister, the new German foreign minister, Johann Wadephul, a conservative, has been quite outspoken about the Taiwan Strait, and he has said things that have angered the Chinese side. And yet, just the last few days, we've had the German Finance Minister, Lars Klingbeil, who's a social democrat, in Beijing, making very, very cooperative kind of sounds and getting a very warm reception. There are some who look at this situation and see that the Chinese are attempting to kind of exacerbate divisions within the German government. Is that something that you believe the Germans should be cautious about?
First, I think that in a democratic country, it is very normal that we have different political opinion. That also we have different diplomatic opinion. For example, should we work more with France, or should we work more with the US, or should we work more with China? So I think first is very normal. Second thing, I need one of the very strong advantage of China is also trying to manipulate information or to influence high-ranking people to divide your society or democratic society. We suffer a lot this very strong ingerence from China. So in Taiwan also we have people that believe that we need to work more with Europe, but we also have people that believe that we should find, we should more submit political will from China. So Taiwan suffered a lot from this. So I think in Germany, I think again it's quite normal that your political leader have different opinion concerning China. But from the Taiwanese side, we do hope that you cannot be naive. You need to know that the policy of China is a domination. Dominate all the domain that China want to interfere, and just look at your car industry, just look at the nuclear industry from France. Now China dominate in those domains they think is important for their national interest. So when we raise the voice to have a different opinion about our policy toward China, we need to be very pragmatic and also to think about what is the interest of Germany, what is the interest of democracy, what is the interest of the future of this world that we share with the majority of the population of the world. Meaning a sustainable future is very important for us.
Francois Wu, many thanks for speaking to DW today.
Thank you so much. Dankeschön.